Alright, hey everyone, Wanderbots here, and welcome to Journey, or if you saw my series from several years ago, I think it might actually be like 3 or 4 years, welcome back to Journey. So this is actually one of my top games of all time, and I've only ever played it once, but I've listened to the soundtrack thousands of times at this point. Austin Wintory got me through a fair bit of senior year, and so on and so forth, because his music is just absolutely beautiful. And so is this game. I actually got to meet him, and he was talking about this a little bit, so I might kind of jam in some of my information. I got to see the Journey live concert at Magfest. Yeah, Magfest 2015 or 2016? 2015, probably. And it was beautiful. For those of you that don't know what Journey Live is, it's effectively Austin Wintory got a full orchestra, and I don't know if he toured the country exactly.
I believe they've done it for Zelda as well, the Legend of Zelda series.
Well, no, so like they did the soundtrack for the game, like somebody was playing the game in the background, and so they would react to what was going on, and that was really cool. So, I'm not sure if I want to go for the white robe on this one. I'm gonna try, but I'm probably gonna fail.
How do you acquire the white robe?
You have to find every bit of lore in the game, but they're a little hidden.
Oh.
And so I think the last time I did this, I found all but 3 and then had to go back. Which is fine, but...
And in what manner is lore presented? Are they on objects? Or...
no, there will be, like, shrines and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this game came out back in 2012 on the PS3 to almost incredible critical acclaim. I think is it That Game Studio? I think it's That Game
Studio. Are these
Studio.
Markers for those that have passed?
Kind of, yeah.
Yep. There's the title.
But yes, there's quite a lot of gravestones.
I like the cinematography for that. It's like the opening of a film.
Oh, absolutely. This whole thing
when you're introduced to the character and you are met with an objective or a trial.
Yeah, I would put this very much in the category of interactive movies. I think we played that game Rhyme a while back, and I think that kind of wanted to be similar, but I think it lacked a lot of something, and I can kind of talk about that a little bit. Man, this looks even better on PC. I got the PS4 version myself years ago when it came to PS4. That's when I played it. But it's kind of fun to actually play it on, I guess, my main platform and see it in more or less as the absolute maximum detail.
Are consoles always fated to be less detailed than a computer?
Generally, yes. So...
Probably because computers you tend to replace every few years, and I mean, I suppose it's like that for systems too, but systems...
So...
They're not equipped graphically for... I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the inner workings of such things, but it always seems like PC always outpaces them, and then you have to buy an entirely new system.
It's a bit of a, would I say, a trade-off with console versus PC. So the point of consoles is they are a static thing. You know exactly how powerful they are, and you know most games put on them will run well on them.
PC and that is their intended purpose as well, though some of them have started to have become multi-purpose, at least when it comes to streaming and surfing the internet and such.
Actually, that really started with like the 360 and then moving into the Xbox One range, and they've still kind of kept it as the multimedia machine feel, but
I can't believe we're discussing this at the onset. I suppose it's because you mentioned that this looks better on PC.
Oh, it looks great.
And what was the PlayStation lacking?
Power.
Was it the clarity? Was it the animations?
Yeah, clarity for one.
So this is essentially saying that your kind is that each of these markers represents one that has fallen?
Yes. Yeah, so all of those are graves. I kind of wish it was one of those where it actually do it dynamically based on how many players were playing for the day or something like that.
You would think
but that would be harder to program.
That if these are dunes, they would shift enough. So I do see some of the markers seem half buried, other ones are protruding a bit more, but you would think that this wouldn't be the best place to bury anyone.
I mean,
they would
I think
eventually
that's
be
just
exposed.
where they fell. Sort of.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Can't remember. I think that's where we came from recently. I'm trying to find all of those, because if we find all of those things, I believe, that's how we get the white robe.
There are more,
so that's where we came from.
There are more pieces of cloth over there.
Yeah, so those just give you a little bit longer of a robe, or they give you a boost. I forget. I've already interacted with those, though. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, but there are some off to the left, though.
Yeah, I interacted with those. That's where we came from.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Notice every time you touch one, they, like, kind of touch my thing and then, like, kind of go away.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how it works. I forget. Either way, the white robe, what it does is it makes it so you have, like, a super jump, and also you look cool. Is it those things? I forget. I think this is the area that you come back to.
It does look like a central hub of sorts. That one over there.
Yeah. You come back to one of these, and it... Oh, no, those just refill your cloak meter. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can also ping off of another player to refill your cloak meter, which lets you jump. The white cloak lets you, jump as much as you want. More or less.
Mm-hmm.
Feels sad without it. That's okay.
Huh. So there's a kind of metal grating across the exterior of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have this very... It's very much like post-Arabian, I want to say. Architecture. Hard to describe, but it's very beautiful. And... Let's see, so that would let me float jump for a little while. But I don't want to do that, because I want to grab these things.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, there we go. These are the ones that increase the length of it. The other ones just recharge my meter. So yeah, the more of these I grab, the more I'm going to be able to float fly.
Ah.
Yeah. And so you kind of want to pick them all up just because it feels so good to have, like, maxed out meter. Actually, I shouldn't have squandered all of mine, but that's fine.
Looks like you can really get yourself airborne already.
Yep. And, like, by the end of it, it is tremendously long. So I want to go check that out over there real quick. So I think this is the place I'm,
I assume this is a game where death isn't possible.
Ah, here it is.
Correct?
Correct. But yeah, so notice all of these?
Yes.
If you get all of these, you get the white robe.
Oh. But you've already collected those 3.
I've collected 3, but I gotta get more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if there's any others. For people that do remember, let me know.
For this particular area?
Yeah.
Well, that's why you explore.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and be particular about it, but it's easy to miss some of them. Some of them are straight up, like, I'm not gonna say impossible to find, but, like, rough.
Well, each of these structures is... Oh.
Yeah, I want to say this is chapter select, actually.
So each of these entryways.
Yeah, so once you've beaten this game, you can go through any one of those, and it lets you go back. I think that's the case. It's been a while.
And the mountain in the distance is your objective, correct?
Yes. Yeah, and will be our persistent objective for this entire thing.
It seemed to glow with its own light.
Correct.
At the top.
Yep. So, I mentioned I met Austin Wintory. Admittedly, it was mostly for a panel. I got to shake his hand, but that was about it. But he was talking about making the soundtrack for Journey. And he said, to some degree, he was actually the concept artist for the game. That oftentimes they would have him write the music first, and then they designed the game around his music. And he said it was a really interesting experience because, yeah, they pretty much brought him into the office and had him, I guess, lead the way.
All right. That's the mountain, and so that's life. Plants and animals, and then the people. Is that they started to build their towers?
Kind of, yeah. I think actually it's more the ribbon stuff.
Oh.
So I'm gonna be honest, I'm not entirely clear on the plot of this game, and
Is it celestial energy or magic? It seems to imply that they're from the stars, or the energy at least.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the ribbons... Oh, there's another player, or another person-ish. I think they do that to imply that there's going to be another person there. So I actually have a fan, I believe, waiting on the other side here.
Do they have to be a friend in your friends list or something?
Nope. So the way Journey's multiplayer works...
I thought it would pair you with someone random on the internet. Yeah.
Correct. It pairs you entirely randomly. I'm going to start looking around. So you can actually see that sparkle in the distance?
Mm-hmm.
I want to go there and there. And there's another one all the way to the left. Or
yeah.
There's one hidden in like a cave, even more hidden than that, I think it was. But I want to grab as many of these as possible. Look at that big, just featureless bot. I'm actually surprised how short their legs are when you actually get a good look at them.
I still very much enjoy the instances where they have little needle legs.
Yeah, I like needle legs. I didn't like it so much in, what was it? What was the game we were playing? Fire Emblem.
And what was it, Fire Emblem, or was it Setsuna and Lost Sphere, where they have the tiny little legs?
I think both did. I was offended in the 3DS version of Fire Emblem where they had the little like stick legs, just because like they didn't have that in the sprite versions.
Oh, and they weren't even chibis, were they? They were actually well proportioned people.
Ish, yeah. I think that was the case.
It was a little uncomfortable.
I wonder if there's anything else over here. It worked fine for Setsuna and Lost Sphere. Is there anything back here? Remember.
Oh,
there it is.
There's one.
There it is.
Almost expecting a sandworm to pop up somewhere, but I know that this is not that kind of game.
No, it is not. God, I love the sand physics, though. It looks so good.
Mm-hmm. The way that it sparkles, it almost reminds me of the grains of sand. Did you ever go to, say, a carnival or a circus, and they were offering those large vials of colored sand, and you would have the opportunity to pour your own?
Actually, no. So if you notice, I just turned that like aging tapestry into a bunch of those floating ones. I don't actually know if that matters mechanically. Might matter in this area. I don't exactly remember. Oh, right, it does. It just matters on a larger scale. Also, notice sand surfing. More games need this mechanic. Like, badly. World traversal in this game is kind of slow until you hit a slope, and then it's real cool. Because you can just, like, slide around it at relatively high speeds, even. Let's see.
It reminds me of... You remember Disney's Tarzan, right?
Yeah, where he was surfing down the...
Surfing down all the tree limbs, and it was absolutely nuts. And I couldn't help but think to myself, ouch, 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 the entire time, because he may have had very, very calloused feet, but I couldn't imagine...
Yeah, that was a mastercraft in animation. I didn't like that movie that much.
Nah, the villain and much of the conflict, because in a way there were multiple conflicts. There was Kerchak and his acceptance, or I mean, I suppose lack thereof, of Tarzan. There was the introduction of Jane and her father, and the revelation that, oh, you know, Tarzan is human, and these are his people, and him falling in love with her, and the conflict of, you know, she'll eventually have to leave. Will she decide to leave or stay? Will Tarzan decide to leave or stay? And then, of course, Clayton.
Yeah. I guess I just didn't like Clayton as much as a villain. He just felt kind of bland.
Yeah, he was a little...
He just felt like bad Gaston.
No, he really did.
God, I love flying. Instead of just being a jump.
He also suffered from the self-inflicted villain death.
I mean, that's super common in Disney movies.
Well, I mean, you don't want to have responsibility fall solely on the hero or the villain's demise. It's always the, I can save you, and the villain's like, no. Ooh. Will these reconstruct the bridges?
Yep. I will admit, if it seems like I'm not really talking about this game, it's because I don't want to spoil anything. Which I apologize about. This game is truly best experienced blind. And
I just know that if I were to be at the controls, you'd be telling me where to go.
Actually,
like
I would leave the room and just let you play it yourself. Because, like, this game is such a beautiful experience, and I think you don't lose much just watching it, but it's like a little bit less.
It's very reliant on your personal journey through it. It's one where it's probably linear enough that what everyone experiences is similar, at least when it comes to progression. But when it comes to your meanderings about each of the levels and what you uncover and how you take in the sights, that's different.
I would also...
It's very atmospheric.
Yeah, I would also say having another player nearby makes a big difference. So in this case, I don't actually know if we're going to get another player. But so the way the multiplayer works is generally you're just matched up with somebody else. I've actually had, like, I think 2 or 3 people come through this zone with me at the same time on the PS4 version. I'm a little worried the netcode might not be good, which would be a concern. But so effectively, this is the first zone that you can run into another player. And usually they show up as like a shine on your screen around the outside, and that kind of like directs you towards where they are.
Oh, I see.
And then you just travel through the game like that. And I don't think it was ever explicitly mentioned that by the developers that this was a co-op game. They just made it multiplayer. And so a lot of people will go through this game without even realizing that the other person that they were playing with...
They thought they were aiding an AI.
Yeah. Yeah, they thought they were just being helped by a random AI. And then get to the end and it's like, you were helped by these players. And it's like, what? And so admittedly, I'm spoiling that a little bit. But I remember playing with 2 different people.
Wait, what is that you're on?
I'm not actually sure.
I was thinking segments of a kind of serpent. Can you look at the front of it?
Yeah. Well, there's like a face on that one.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If we can look at it.
Yeah, it does seem like this is one of those where... Is this?
Yeah, go to the bottom of it.
Yeah, there we go.
Huh.
Yeah, it looks like a snake.
Was it a kind of burrowing machine? Were these people more technically advanced than...
Or it could be a flying machine?
That too.
I love the deformations in the sand, both the wind pushing it along as I move and especially as I'm surfing.
It just seems peculiar that so many are littering the landscape.
Oh, the machines?
Yeah.
I mean, this is very clearly some kind of post-apocalypse. Because there's ruins everywhere, and it's implied that most of the player characters...
Well, also, I don't know if this was necessarily a ravine. It has the trappings of perhaps what used to be a waterbed, a river, perhaps, of immense size.
Let me get to the top of this and look around real quick. I think there's any...
I'm just trying to imagine the world as it was, I suppose.
Yeah.
At this point, look, these are waterfalls of sand. Did you get all 3 in this area?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh. They're becoming clearer. Okay, so this is when they build their architecture, the towers. Oh. Are they the segmented things actually subway cart? Or you know what I mean?
No, it's just more of the ribbons going through as kind of a power source.
Oh.
Our entire society is powered by ribbons. It's no surprise they fell to ruin. What kind of weird, nonsense, alternative energy is that? So
They definitely favored red.
Yeah, it's very much an earthy tone game. There are some very blue parts though. Now that I'm thinking.
Oh.
A lot of greens. Yeah, no, they actually do the gamut pretty well. Just depends on where. You might recognize
that's the Vista that you like, yeah.
Yeah, this is the Vista I really like. So much so that I actually did a piece of fan art for this. Which will probably be this thumbnail again.
Just yours was definitely blue, not green.
Yeah, I like blue more than green.
I love green. This is a pretty green. Especially contrasting with the pinks.
By the way, I believe that shooting star is actually a player that just beat the game.
Oh, interesting. So...
I could be wrong, but I think that's the case.
Oh.
Excellent.
Just to see where they land, if they land at all.
I think they land.
Or is it
going through the sky?
A new player. I thought that at the very beginning of the game there was a shooting star and then you appeared. It's not like you landed in the desert though, no. I don't believe so.
I don't remember that well. Oh. How much is Journey? I think it's $15 normally, though. So it's on the Epic Game Store. I should probably mention that.
How far could you go to the left or the right?
Not that far. I think you like cap off after a certain point. There's a rune in this area that I want to look for. I'm gonna say it's over on the right. I could be wrong.
That's what I was going to address. The fact that there might be, say, hidden areas.
Yep. This is one of the two areas. Yeah, there it is. Oh, you can see the pop-in back there.
The what?
Pop-in. I just saw some of the distant dunes pop in. There, There's some more. But yeah, so Journey on PC is currently on the Epic Game Store and maybe Windows. I could be wrong. But it's $15 normally, which is absolutely worth it, even for the length. Or I think it's currently on sale for $5. I could be wrong. Truly, I would recommend it. I know people get huffy about the Epic Game Store, and I kind of understand, but it's worth it.
Wait, so this wasn't Steam?
Nope, it's not on Steam.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the rune that I'd missed my first playthrough. One of the handful. I was pretty thorough.
Whoa. Oh. Huh? What's that?
It's Carpet Monster.
Carpet Monster?
Mm-hmm. Come back. Back, Carpet Monster.
Can you ride on it?
I think so.
I think you'd have to land squarely on, well,
Carpet Monster,
the square.
come back. I don't know if you can surf on it.
Oh, did it fill up your energy?
Yeah, it does. At the very least, you can use them for that. I want to say you ride them at some point, but I can't remember. Let's climb a dune and look for some runes.
Yeah, there are some sing-songy notes. Interesting.
Yep. It's usually pretty atmospheric stuff, but once the soundtrack gets going on.
What's that noise?
Runes there. There's nothing out this way.
Yeah, there's that there. Let's
I'm
go
gonna
back.
swing by the carpet
Oh,
monster,
that's what it is. It's making noise.
this.
Yeah, there are.
Oh, there's flowers.
Oh, is that a collectible?
Yeah.
It made noise when you sat next to it. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of forget.
Oh wait, there's two of them now.
Are they? Oh, carpet monsters. Yeah, yeah.
Carpet monsters.
Yeah, it's a reference to their previous game, Flower.
Oh.
Which I think also had, like, I'm not going to say a weird amount of critical acclaim, but it was one of those where... it was one of those... This is one of those studios that, like, every game they make generally does quite well.
Well, when you have intriguing designs... It's one of those games where it's not character-driven. It's because it purely focuses on exploration and some storytelling, you really become connected with the character that you are playing as opposed to seeing the adventure through the eyes of a pre-established character.
Yeah. Immersive is the correct word. This is part of the reason why I keep saying, like, you would really enjoy Outer Wilds. because it is such an immersive experience.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you get into the game not necessarily because that, like, you feel like you're there, but you're so just, like, emotionally committed to what's going on after a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing anything about multiplayer.
Whoa. Another noise.
It's just... I think there's something on the other side. I forget. Remember if there's anything here.
I'm hearing...
Oh, there it is.
Yep. Do you activate something? Oh, there we go. There we go. There's some percussion and strings.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be pretty quiet while I'm, like, hunting around. The levels get a little bit smaller, though, which is nice.
And I believe I've said this before, but I grew up with a number of games where exploration and discovery and interacting with puzzles in your environment and creatures within the environment and such was favored over combat. And I really do enjoy games that don't rely on combat.
The indie market has really kind of, like, filled that gap. And admittedly, like, I would say that those games that you enjoyed probably were more on the indie side. You want a guide for those glyphs. Just tell me if I'm going to miss one. Mainly. Because I don't want to, like, be hunting them down, but I do want to find them all. Let's see, there should be one more over here. I don't think there's any more in this area.
Oh, there's one at the top.
Yep. But yeah, I don't want to, like, follow a guide. I'm just wandering. Remember if there's anything in the building. I think so. And we'll go with the dune.
Oh.
But how cute the
I like the noises the creatures are making at the same time. They're
weird carpet monsters.
Yeah,
Oh,
oh, there's something.
They're bemoaning their friend.
Oh, I see. They're hovering
Who's
over
trapped,
him.
yeah.
Whoop. Wait, so those are cages.
Yeah.
So they were cage trains.
Yep. Actually...
Wait, did the people craft sentient fabric?
Or they harnessed it, and this entire world is made of those?
Oh. I really liked how it dipped into the sand and made that circle around you.
Oh, yeah. No, Journey is a true masterpiece of a game. I think the only mild shame of it is so short, but at the same time, I can't honestly say if that's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything over here. I think we found it all.
We've definitely discussed this before, but I believe I prefer games that are within the at most 10 to 20 hour range. When you start getting into 40, 50 hours to complete a game, usually with extensive RPGs.
I think it really depends on the game for me. Because there are some games that truly, like, I would enjoy.
This is ominous.
Yep.
Was that Steam? Is
Yep.
something still functional around here?
A little.
Seems to be surrounded by a kind of miasma.
Yep. Trying to think of games that I feel like should be longer. I feel like a lot of multiplayer things should be longer, like the co-op, like really good co-op games.
Uh-oh. Is this gonna kill you?
No.
No, okay. Oh.
Nope.
I suppose I am still thinking in, oh no, you can drop to your death, but no, it wasn't.
Nope, you just kind of float comfortably down. I honestly don't think there's a single failure state in this entire game.
Ah, that's reassuring.
Yep.
Ooh. But there is a crusher of some sort, or...
Yeah, I think it just knocks you off, though. It's absolutely, like, this is a game meant to be relaxed during. There's... Oh, there is something. I honestly don't know what happens when you get something. Now that I'm thinking about it. Well, I guess we'll find out. Do not know how to get up this sucker.
Well, there seem to be a number of platforms nearby. Those would be good to try out.
Yeah, but I have no...
I would assume from one of those platforms there's probably a piece of fabric you can use to jump ahead. Unless you have to find one of your carpet friends.
There it is.
There's a carpet friend. Do you change the pitch depending on where you hold it, or?
I got short and long pitches, effectively. Maybe I go from this one.
Yeah. That's a good start.
But yeah, so depending on how long you hold it down, it changes how, like, loud and long and large blast is.
I just didn't know if the melody was controlled by you or not.
There's one.
Yep.